Welcome back to this Let's Play of The Last Remnant. Last time, we picked up the second part of this random quest with Roberto and the missing Knights of Melfina, and apparently they've got a clue with one of these Shrine Maidens is bound to one of the Knights, and so she can kind of tell from that bond where he is. And we have an idea. So we just need to talk to Roberto here. Call him Bob. What about Bob? Well, what about him? I'm not going to use him, so whatever. And he requests your help. To do this. And we're going to say yes. Very, very temporarily. There are, I believe, 7 paths into this area called Caedmon. They all use the same music, they all have fairly similar backgrounds, they're all caves. They all lead to the same place, which is really strange because they're, you know, opposite sides of the continent. But I guess we're, you know, going around the world or something? Anyway, he joins the party and he gives you a moss-covered key, which would be great if we were actually going to use it. If we exit to the world map, we'll suspend the current quest, and Roberto will leave the party. And now we can get to the 4th path, which is actually what we wanted to do in the first place. I just want the key, I don't want to actually do the quest. This area is a little annoying because it's fairly tight passages, which makes dodging monsters not too hard, but there's a possibility of failure. And again, I have no interest whatsoever in actually fighting anything. I will if I absolutely have to, but I don't think I will absolutely have to. If you don't have the key, you can't unlock that door, and you can't sort of get to this part of the 4th path. You can actually come to the 4th path earlier, just by going into the throne room area at Melfina and talking to what's the guy is labeled as Geography Savvy Knight. But okay, there's not much you can do here without that. So, I've broken the lock on these guys. There's a transporter here. I'm going to just save quickly. Because there's just one item we're coming to get here. Hopefully this will be easy. The Staff of Remembrance. That's our 3rd remembrance item. There's another one we could actually pick up at this point, but it would not actually do what we want to do. So, now that we have the staff, we can go and do a completely unrelated quest.
Right.
Well, it's related to the staff, but it's not related to this area. I suppose I should actually explore the rest of the town of Baltarosa, but there's a lot more to do here. There are a lot of side quests I haven't done yet. This particular quest is sort of, well, requires a lot of running around, which we've done. And this guy's an amnesiac, and he wants something to remind him of what he was. And depending on what items you give him, he will have different. He'll be essentially a completely different character with the same name and picture. So giving him those 3 things, the staff, the bandana, and the letter, And we get Jorgen Adventurer. You also get a new formation out of it. And he disappears. Now that we've done that, though, when we go over to the guild here in Baltarosa, we should find him as a recruitable character. Jorgen the Adventurer is probably the most practical of his variants. There are a couple of his other versions which I suppose have niche uses, but many of them aren't available until much later in the game. So he's probably the best one for my purposes, because I just want him as a placeholder. He starts with both remedies and herbs, including Vivification Herb, which is the reason for this entire trip. However, I don't have any money, so I'm going to do some grinding for money off screen and be right back. Whenever I say I'm grinding for money, I'm going back to that dive point at Crookfen, which gets me 3 to 5 Oberon stones on average per run. Sometimes we get a lot more, sometimes we get a lot less, but it's a couple thousand gold per run, and it's fairly easy to do. So we'll employ Jorgen, or Jorgen, I don't know. I'm also going to go through the process of dismissing Oaks. I have just no interest in keeping him for the long term. And I will, for now, fill the spare spot there
I'm on a tight ship
with Jorgen. We have a couple more formations now. As you run through the formations, you can see sort of where the stats will go for you. Some of these things say like effective versus plante for stacked attack. What that means is that you get I believe it's a 20% damage bonus. It's it's something, I guess. But that was the first character we needed. Our next objective is to go back to Illusion, or whatever the stupid city is, to pick up another quest. And another character who, coincidentally, also has Vivification Herb. You noticing a trend here or anything? Maybe you should. Vivification Herb is just, well, long-term, even long-term, it's one of just the most important abilities in the game. So even though these characters that I'm hiring are placeholders, I'm hiring them for a reason. Now, that guy is here. I don't really want to do his quest yet. We want Darien. Or Melodramatic City. Who, he's totally awesome, I'm sure. And, he doesn't tell you where his hometown is, but, we know. How do we know? Well, we do. It is, in fact, Melfina, which we've been to. And so we go into Cobalt Plaza. And essentially this is just running around talking to people. Now, this quest is sort of annoying. It essentially involves a lot of running around. But first thing we do is we talk to Festival Head here. And you ask him about the chalice and he gives you some background on it. It's not that important. Oh, sorry. Talked to the wrong person. And he asks if you saw Darien, and I suppose if you really wanted to read this entire conversation, you could, well, I'm probably going through it too quickly. You could probably do it frame by frame, but there's not really anything important going on here. And, apparently there was some lover's quarrel or something, I don't know. I'm not really paying attention to it. It's fairly random. Darien is not an important character, and so the wife doesn't know anything about it, but she says to go find her husband. He may know something about why Darien left town. And, you know, the husband isn't helpful. So, we go back to the missus, see if we can... Apparently he's slacking off from work, so we're gonna have to call in the mommy and get him to behave. Yeah, just a lot of running around. And he gets a nice little talking to, and she instructs him to tell you what you want to know. Apparently Darien accidentally killed this guy's little sister. Oh well. Good reason to leave town, I guess. And Bino there, whose first name is not Al, tells you to go talk to his grandfather. Doesn't, of course, specify who his grandfather is, but it's Festival Head. And apparently the chalice has been cracked. And I guess this is forgiveness or something? I don't know. I don't really get caught up in the side plot. Lack of plot? Anyway. I hope we have enough money to recruit this guy when we're done, because I don't want to have to go do more grinding, but it's not like it takes very long. Trust me, and just for the amount of work involved, I'm surprised those things are worth so much. You know, just from a supply and demand standpoint, there should be more than adequate supply, and frankly, they're not very useful, so what's the demand? Oh well. And he more or less assumed you failed, but... gives you a whole 25 gold. Great. For that amount of running around, you'd think he'd give you some more, but at least he's a useful character. Well, I wouldn't say he's great, but he does, in fact, have the skill that makes everything useful, which is... Now look, we can't afford him. No, we're not too far off. He does actually have... I mean, he has fairly good skills, in addition to everything. He also has the lotions skill, which is... it's a little bit like herbs, but lotions is mostly about curing status ailments. It's much harder to raise because not many enemies use status ailments. If you have somebody who starts with lotions from the beginning, and all they have is anti-venom, all you can do is run around and try to sort of fight monsters that poison you, because otherwise you can't get to the second skill. Eye cream is just healing, so that's easy enough to use. But I am going to do a little bit of grinding for cash again, and see you in the next episode with Darien in my party.